That was not a top 50 verse.
Do you like the new song?
No, but
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great about it?
It's so good.
Pusha T or Malice?
To keep it a buck, I'm gonna go with Pusha T. So we're not gonna drink to them.
Jim Jones really woke up one day and decided to start beefing with legends. Not one, not two, but three of the most respected names in hip-hop history: Nas, Pusha T, and No Malice. And honestly, he's learning the hard way that some battles just aren't meant to be picked. Now the entire industry's watching him crash out in slow motion, because what he thought was harmless commentary just triggered one of the most calculated comebacks hip-hop's seen in years. And that's when people clocked what he'd really done. The guy who lit the match might have accidentally brought Clips back from the dead, because what started as a hot take about Nas not being relevant turned into a lyrical crossfire that reached the front row of Paris Fashion Week, with Pharrell, Beyonce, and Jay-Z sitting front and center as witnesses. And right in the middle of it all, Jim Jones, the guy who said Pusha T's music never meant anything to him, is now being turned into the rollout for Clips' return. You could almost hear Harlem stop breathing when Jim Jones opened his mouth and said this.
Look, my son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here.
Yeah, but
like, let's
Jim went for the gut. He brought Nas' entire legacy to the dinner table, uninvited, and said it wasn't even memorable enough for the next generation to recall. And the worst part, that wasn't even the wildest thing he said that week. Because Jim didn't just say it once and move on. He said it, laughed, then doubled and tripled down on multiple platforms. The Breakfast Club, Bag Fuel, Nightcap with Shannon Sharp, even in street interviews and live streams. At one point, he tried to rationalize his dig at Nas by saying he was just being honest as a fan. Then he said something even wilder. On Bag Fuel, he didn't just diss Nas, he flipped the narrative, claiming he was the reason Nas was going viral again. According to him, nobody had been talking about Nas like this in years, not since the days of Ether. Jim literally said this.
Viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You did. The last time he was in some like this, when people were comparing, is when him and Jay was beating on him. You heard? You did? Like, that, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the semantics of it.
Since the whole thing?
Nas.
Okay.
I don't know Nas to have a conversation with him. You don't have a conversation, we can have that too much like that. You dig? Like, I don't really care.
One thing I
about
did see you do, I've seen you do this in Say Less, I've seen you do this in the studio.
That's what he said on camera. The wild thing is, Jim never realized who he was dealing with. Nas isn't the type to bark back. He's the type to quietly align with billionaires, partner with major developers, and show you where the real power lies without having to say a word. Jim kept